Okay. 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 Hi. Still struggling with some of this new setup. Okay. Wanted to bring you an update. First of all, I was doing a little experiment. We are able to have a. Give me a second. Hi. Okay, there we go. Had echoes in my ear. Still figuring things out here, folks. There's the camera right there. Okay, was trying to figure out a way. We have done some experimentation. Sunbelt Girl has already done it. And to register a Twitter app takes 60 seconds at the most. No big deal. The problem is once you register an app, there is some very secret information about that app. Steve, if you know anything about programming, it's an API secret and API key. It's part of the OAuth authenticating pair key. It's a paired key, public and private. And basically, I got to know that information. If I'm going to use your app, I need to know your app's API key and your API secret. And it says right there, don't give anybody this information. Don't make it public in any way. So I was hoping by virtue of registering the app that somehow Twitter did what they call a callback, ping a particular page and post some data to it that could be harvested and electronically stored. No, that was the test. I was seeing if they did that. No, they don't. Okay. So I didn't really expect them to, but I thought I would try because if it could be automated, that would be fine. But now when you register the app, you're going to have to literally cut and paste the secret information that Twitter tells you, don't give this to anybody. Okay. But that's the way it is, okay? You have to trust the developer. And so what's kind of neat, Steve, you don't know this, the name of your app, believe it or not, can be the same as your screen name. For example, my app that I set up is called Data Genesis. Okay? Barbara's is called Sunbelt Girl. So guess what, Steve? Yours could be called Hazards 4. So the name of your app is also the name. Now, something that's kind of neat is that it is not, and this is new, by the way. Twitter, when you set up an app, you are the registered owner of the app. They give you a little button that you can literally opt into your own app. And that's cool because I was going to have to do that. So now there's about 4 pieces of information in there that we need. One, the API key, the API secret, and then you've got your personal key and your personal secret of the user that opted in, plus your account number. We'll say, what is my account number? Well, every Twitter user has a Twitter account number. In other words, you could go into Twitter, Hazards 4, and change it to Hazards 5. But then, of course, we would lose your identity. But your account number has not changed. So you can change your screen name, but you cannot change your account number. So when we go to sign you in, I can look up your app based not upon your screen name, but upon your Twitter account number. So that's going to kind of be the workflow. You'll have to sign in just like you do on the chat here. You have to authorize some app so that you will have an identity. Once your identity is known, then I can look in the database of the secret information that you gave me that Twitter told you not to give anybody, and I can look up the stuff that is necessary to allow your app to dispatch your scheduled tweets. Okay? So, my goal is this, and I did not meet my goals today. My goal is I normally get off, or put it this way, we leave Tallahassee, my wife and I carpool around 4 o'clock. That puts us home close to 5. That gives me at least an hour to an hour and a half of daylight to do some lumberjacking. And I did that yesterday. In fact, I made the final 2 cuts on the trunk of the pecan tree that was removed, that was taken down. And so now all I got to do is cut up the 4 pieces that remain of the stump. One of them will be easy. The others will be hard because there's a little fork in it, so the grain's not straight. But you know what? We'll just swing the axe. Half the purpose of this is to get exercise anyway, so yeah, I'll be getting some exercise. So I did that yesterday, got a good workout. Today, when I got home, I went straight to bed, and my wife woke me up at about, 7:30. That's how tired I was. I don't even know what time I go to work tomorrow. But I was tired. But nonetheless, I my wife kicked my butt out of bed so that she could get in bed and go to sleep. So I didn't get any lumberjacking done, but I did drag my butt into my man cave to be with you and share with you the progress that we're making. My goal is to, 1, do some lumberjacking, do some form of physical activity to get in shape when I get home, and then take a shower, and then make some progress writing some code. So I did, even though the test that I did was not successful, that is making progress. I found out that, that won't work. I know that doesn't sound like progress, but it is. It's like Thomas Edison. I didn't fail 10,000 times. I found out 10,000 ways that it would not work. So we can move. Now, here's an interesting thing. Today, I get one of those robo phone calls. You know the kind. It is the utility company. And the utility company robot says the work at such and such address, has been completed. If your power is not working, please check. I'm thinking, okay, let's see. If you're not up to speed on what all that's about, the meter base that I put in was among the approved meter bases on the Duke Energy website. It is approved for both underground and overhead installations. So got the electric permit, got the inspection, got the little sticker on the meter base. So, and they automatically notify the power company. Power company came out, dug a trench, and the next day the engineer calls me and says, we're not going to be able to use that meter base. I thought, really? And he implied that it was not approved. Well, I did not actually purchase. I didn't make the product selection. I said, okay, let me get with my sales guy. I was trying to pretend like I was actually the general contractor, which according to the building permit, that is the case. So I called the guy and didn't hear from him for a few days. The other day I was kind of sitting here. Didn't have to clock in till like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so I'm getting a little code written, and here comes my electrical guy, who's not really a licensed electrician anymore. He's retired, but he still, knocks around, does a little work here and there. I said, Mike, gee, I'm sure I'm glad to see you. Well, he's bringing this new meter base, and he shows me. He said the old meter base was approved for the list. He says, here's what happened. The wire that they trenched in here is big enough to serve, like a restaurant or a grocery store. They use some huge wire. He figures they must have had a little bit of wire left over from another job. And that wire was so big, the meter base that I got was small. It was only a 100 amp meter base. I've only got, less than 200 square feet here. So you couldn't get the wire around the side and get it hooked up easily. It could have been done, but the craftsman, the IBEW union craftsman, didn't want to struggle with my small meter base that met their specs, but they didn't tell me what size wire they're going to put in, so they put in wires too big. Well, so Mike, my electrician, comes in and he says, "We're right, they're wrong, but we're just going to replace the meter base." And he had with him a 200 amp meter base that's large, pretty much standard size for a house, where the other one was kind of a miniature one. Okay. And Mike is a great guy. I said, "Mike, who's paying for this?" He said, "Don't worry about that." I said, "Well, Mike," I said, "I appreciate that." I said, "Because I said, if I would have bought a meter base and told you to put it in there and the meter base was wrong, I would have to, one, buy the correct meter base, and I would have to pay you again to put it in." But I said, I didn't. I said, "You selected the meter base, and according to your little report here, you selected a good one." I said, "I do not expect to get an upgraded, more expensive meter base and not pay the difference." I said, but he wouldn't hear of it. He said, "No, this is my problem." He says, "This is the way I do business." I said, "Well, Mike, if that's a $250 meter base and you charge me $175 for the other one, I'd like to pay you the difference. Now, the work you're having to do, that's on you. Okay, that's business." He wouldn't hear of it. He would not allow me to pay him the difference between the two prices. So that's the kind of guy he is. And, that's the way that I would run. That's the kind of thing I would do. You just cowboy up. You put on your big girl panties, cowgirl up, and act responsibly and satisfy the customer. I was very impressed with Mike, but I did offer. I told him I did not expect him to pay the difference. Of course, he might have, got it free from the salesman. I don't know. Okay, so put in the new meter base. Now the meter base has to have a little sticker that says the building inspector guy has come out here and looked at it, and it is safe and approved for the power company to hook it up. Okay. Now, I don't know what the inspector looks at, but nonetheless, no sticker, no ticky, no washy. Okay. So I was going to call the county and say, "I got an electric permit, I got an inspection, but I have subsequently changed the meter base. Would you be so kind as to go out there and take a look and slap a sticker on it, and hopefully not charge me as if we're starting over?" Because it's about $79 to pull the electric permit. I was going to make that call. Well, I get this robocall from Duke Energy saying your order has been complete. Well, I get home and dadgummit, there's a meter base. They came out. So, yay! We have electricity right there behind this screen, about 4 feet behind the camera. The 4 feet behind right there. I'm looking at a panel box. Now, there is not a single breaker. There's nothing rigged up. But if I did rig something up, it would be fully functional because we have got electric service in the PJNET bunker. That is excellent news. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is I am diverting all money to purchase a very nice, well, not a huge, it's a very small riding lawnmower. Because here in Florida, if you go outside and you see something green on the ground, that's a weed. The grass isn't green yet, only the weeds. Weeds they thrive no matter what. It's Adam and Eve's fault. So that's where the money's going until I have 3 paychecks in March. So that's my plan on that. But as soon as some funds become available, I will be putting in, I've got to prioritize between insulation, inside wiring, and the next big purchase will be an air conditioner. So I figure lawnmower in March, insulation and wiring in April, and in May we will get the air conditioner, because by then Well, one, we'll have the insulation, and two, we'll need it. Okay, but it'll be nice and cool in here and damp. So the progress I made today was very little, but we do have electricity. That is very encouraging. I could at least hook up, even temporarily. Right now, I have two just light bulbs. That's it. It's just light bulbs. But I doubt that I'll do that. But if I could rig something up myself, I would. But I've never rigged up a panel box, but I may give it a try. What the heck? All right. That's the good news. More good news. Let's see. The PJNET app, easy to do. Not PJNET. Your own personal app, good to do. Been tooling up for Chuck Nellis, and which is long overdue. And we actually have a little home for Chuck, but we're waiting on some stuff from him, like the profile pictures and some graphics and some polish. But other than and he's got to get a YouTube channel set up, and he's got to download the software I'm using right now to do this, and we got to kind of train him up through that, and he's got to get GoToMeeting. But basically the ball is in his court. And he is no longer waiting on me. I am waiting on him. So he waited on me a long time, so I can wait on him however long he wants to take. Although I'd hope he hurries, because Chuck is willing to pay money to do what we're doing right now, stream live. And I will also contact another organization, some ladies in California, who are wanting to do some things with their own venue. But I really should hold up on contacting them until I get the tweet scheduler thing kind of worked out. Okay. It's going to take every bit of a week. If I work a couple hours a day, tooling up, I got to retool the database. I got to crank up this old XP machine that I hadn't started up in years. And hook the monitor up, and because that's the code that actually does the work. But now everything's changed, so I got to retool that code. That's the way it is. Even if that machine should fail, like has happened in the past, I have a reinstallation copy. I'm looking at it right now. Fully licensed. Visual Studio 2005. It's about an $800 box right there, folks. Yep. But I've had it, kept it, got a second copy in case I ever got a second development computer. Well, who knows? Maybe I do have a second development computer now. So we're not going to fail at that. It may take longer than we want, but even if my old machine is dead, no problem. Revising the database. Now, on another note, having nothing to do with PJNET, but yet having something to do with PJNET. I have a guy who is actually formerly a competitor. This is a very nice guy, Line 1 Communications. His name is John Fabrigo. One of the most ethical, upstanding businessmen I have ever dealt with. He's the kind of guy that when he wants you to do something, well, first of all, he's a competitor. Was a competitor of mine. We were both into fax to email and voicemail business. And he actually bought from me wholesale because I was developing new technologies that were not on the shelf yet. For example, changing a fax to an email. I know that's old stuff, but at the time it was cutting edge, and I made a boatload of money. And he literally was buying from me and reselling to his customers. He sold it for a lot more than I did, and he is still in business on that, and I am not. So I had all these fax customers, and I was losing money every month, and I was running out of money. What a lot of people in that situation do is you go to the website one day. Remember one of our chat providers? One day they just were out of business, and we didn't have a chat room. That's what some people do. I don't do that. I have customers who depend upon their fax number that I had provided them to get their faxes to their email. So I went to John and said, John, I'm losing money, but I do have some customers. And I don't want to just turn the switch off and them have to go through the trauma in business of changing their fax number. I said, would you be interested in making some kind of arrangement to, we'll port the numbers over to your system and you can provision service for them? He said, absolutely. I'd be glad to. So we signed a non-disclosure agreement, and basically he took over all of my customers, and I was able to jettison that business. The interesting thing is he pays me, get this, a 25% commission on the revenue that he receives. I didn't even ask him to do that. I would have given him the customers. My concern was for the customer, not for myself. And every 3 months he sends me a check. So I'm actually making money in the fax to email business for the first time ever. All right, so John and I, and he's had me do some other programming work for him from time to time. And he contacted me. I was lumberjacking and heard my phone ring. I got to it, and he started talking about a new project. And he is so straightforward and so honest. And I said, John, I said, here's the deal. I said, first of all, I have a day job that's supposedly part-time, but I said it's working out to be in excess of 30 and 35 hours a week. I said, so I'm not really kind of on the tether the way I used to be. If you call, I may not can answer your call right away because we're literally not allowed to use our cell phones when we're clocked in. Now, that doesn't mean we don't do it, but we're certainly not allowed to. Sometimes we answer our phone. It's our boss calling on the cell phone we're not supposed to answer. But anyway, I said, so number one, John, the level of service that you have become accustomed to with me, I said, I cannot pledge. If this is a mission critical application, I may not be the right person for the job because it's 24/7. He's doing some text to email, text broadcasting, international stuff in Africa. Anyway, he said, I get it, Mark. He said, but the stuff that you've written for me, he says, once we've got it written, it runs without error. And he said, I'd be very surprised if something happened that the problem was on your end anyway. And so I said, okay, John, no problem. Just had to be full disclosure with you. So he's good with that. So anyway, the bottom line is I'm off Tuesday, and my wife's dog has like an abscessed tooth. So got to take the dog down to the vet, and they got to put the dog under it and remove the tooth. But that's at 7:45. So and the other thing I told John, I said, John, I said, I know this sounds strange, but I said, I don't actually have a computer right now capable of writing any code to begin with. I said, and I told him a story about my, heartbreaking experience with my old computer. He said, well, just hit me up when you are capable of this project, if it's only going to be, a week, 2 weeks, whatever. So I did send him a message the other day and said, I have a code-capable machine, and I'll be off Tuesday morning if you would like to meet with you, your staff, your team, and we will discuss the goals and the strategy of achieving those goals. Well, he texted back immediately, so I'm meeting him and his staff that's working on this project, whatever it is, at 10 a.m. Tuesday. Now, John's the kind of guy that pays me very generously, and the other thing is when I send John an invoice, he will literally write a check immediately and call me and say, do you want me to mail the check now, or do you want to come get it? So I don't know how much this will be, but I know that if it's anything at all, it's going to be $500. So I'm looking forward to that. Welcome, Dan. Dan, it is so good to be back on the air here at PJNET. And if the rest of the people will indulge me, let me say this, Dan. As you can tell, we are making some progress. We are in the PJNET man cave, and we are capable. We're starting to dig out a little bit, as you can see. The good news is that we've done some initial experimentation, and to utilize a tweet scheduler, you will need to have your own Twitter application. And we went through the process of setting up a new app. Barbara was the guinea pig, and I'm glad to report to you that it takes less than 60 seconds to create your own Twitter app. And you can even opt in to your own Twitter app. Once you've done those two things, you can then, we got to figure out some way to send me the information off the screen of your Twitter app. And if I were set up a little better, I could do a little screenshot here, but I'm not there yet. So that's good. You can actually name your Twitter app the same as your screen name. For example, your Twitter app can be Dan SCH2002. You don't have to name it that. You can name it anything you want to, as long as somebody else doesn't have the same name. But that's kind of neat, because anyway. So what I'm working on is retooling the opt-in process such that, hang on a minute, let me try something. No, can't do that. So that we can get the tweet schedule back online. Going to work on that every day for about an hour, but I figure it's going to take about a week, probably more. But the initial results are encouraging. And so, yes, PJNET is coming back. Don't go broadcasting this. I don't need a bunch of people calling me saying, when are you going to... It's sort of like your accountant. If you call your accountant saying, when's my tax return going to be ready? He'll say, never. Because I keep getting phone calls like this one, and I don't have time to work on anything. So, but that's good news. So all the news is encouraging, and I think that, it's just going to be good to get the PJNet hashtag back out there, get the rallies going again, and let's start making a difference. So, all right, I have rambled quite a bit. I don't even know what time I go to work tomorrow. Let's find out. Oh! I literally don't know. I have to check the night before to set my alarm. What time am I going in tomorrow? According to my recollection, tomorrow is Friday. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. 8 o'clock? Are you kidding? I was in at 7 this morning. February. Gosh, it's dark in here. Tomorrow, 8 to 5. Gonna be a long day. 8 to 5. Whew. And I don't think my wife is going to want to hang around. So I have to drive my sorry butt. And then Saturday I work 8 to 4. Today I worked 7 to 4. 7 to 5, I'm sorry. 7 to, I don't know. Long, part-time job, 39 hours a week. Okay. So we got a long day tomorrow. But hey, okay, well, I'm done. I thank you for your indulgence. I know I've been kind of rambling and repeating myself, but I'm glad that Dan stopped in because Dan is among the faithful. And when things go off the rails like this, you kind of find out who your friends are. You know, who really is. And but you know what? The fair weather fans, I'm looking forward to them coming back. Even if they are fair weather fans, but I do want to acknowledge that you all are the champions of the cause and have stuck in there, hung in there, even when there was little to hang on to. And you all are just outstanding friends and patriots, and you're like family. So thank you. Barbara, if you will get something ready to queue up, I'm going to kind of sign things out and turn it over to you. I can't stay up much longer because, but we are making progress, folks. So check in, and we'll party and have some fun. And with that, I will turn the controls back over to Sunbelt Girl. Take it away, girl.